morning, students. Today we will discuss about the different types of constraint in one table. How can we put the constraints like primary key, check, unique and not null, and using the regular expression how we can put the same. So I have two different tables. The first table is driving license. I want to create the columns that is for the driving license, that is the unique license number. Definitely it must be a unique and it must not contain the null values. Then I want the name of the person to whom the license is issued. I want the email address. Email address must be unique and valid. Now I want the difference between the date of birth and issue date. The difference must be more than 18 years. So you can say minimum 18 years difference is required to get the driving license. And I want to put the default value in the city, that is the Rajkot. And one more thing, that if you put the mobile number, then mobile number must start with the 6, 7, 8 or 9. So how we can create the table to put all these constraints? Very simple. Let me create the table. For example, create table. Then you can put the name of the table, that is driving license. Now you can start from the very first column, and that is the license number. So I want to put the license number. Definitely see, license number must start with GJ. It means it is and after 10 digit. So we cannot put here a number data type. We have to get the varchar 2. Why? Because whenever you write like this varchar 2, so max length is 12. It is defined over here. But why varchar is required? Because we want to put the GJ. So that is the reason why I am writing here varchar 2. One more thing that you can take is, that is whenever user asks you that it must be a unique and it must not contain the null at that particular time, you can define the primary key, because primary key is the combination of unique plus not null. Now I want to check that the driving license number must start with GJ and must contain the 10 digit. So here you can put the check constraint. Check your license number, but you need to use the regular expression to check this. So here you can write check regular expression like, then into bracket you can simply check that the license number. So my license number is the field. It must start with GJ. So you can simply write here, that is GJ. So GJ is required element over here. Then I want minimum 10 digits. So I'm simply writing here, that is a combination of 0 to 9 and 10 digits is required. So what happened in this case? It must get the GJ first, then 0 to 9, that is digit, and then 10 character. But whenever you define the constraint, I always recommend that give the proper constraint name, because at the time of insertion we must need to get that which constraint is violated in which situation. So good practice suggests that provide the constraint name over here. So you can write here constraint name, check driving license number. So my driving license number must start with GJ and must be, that is at least 12 character long. So maximum length is 12 defined, and then after GJ the combination of 10 digit is required. So my first task is over on the first line. Then the second one, that is the name of the person. For example, I am writing here name. Then it must not contain the null. What is null? That we will discuss today itself. So varchar to 30 for example, and you can write here not null. Now after name we have the another column, and that is email. So here you can define the size of email, that is for example varchar 2. Now again I given you a hint that write the constraint keyword, then constraint name, that a check, but it is on driving license, so I'm writing here driving check email. Whenever you write a check constraint, here you can define the type, that is check. So now we need to check that email must be valid. So what we can write here, check email like. Now I want that at least 3 character is required. So I'm writing here underscore underscore underscore. Then you can write percentage, it means 3 or more character. So let me mention over here. For example, if you're writing percentage in your wildcard character, the meaning is 0 or more character after this is valid. And whenever you write underscore, the meaning is at least 1 character is required. So what happened in this particular case? 1, 2 and 3 character is compulsory, and whenever you write percentage, it means 3 or more is valid. Then, for example, email ID is Parag, then PAR, and then after percentage, so more than 3 character is allowed over here. After this, you can write at the rate. Then after at the rate, for example, Parag at the rate. Then, for example, the domain. Then domain means Gmail, Yahoo, like this. So I'm writing here underscore underscore and percentage because the might be a chance the domain have the 2 characters like parag@in.com. So you can write underscore underscore 2 times and percentage, it means more than 2 characters are allowed, minimum 2 is required. Then dot, and for com and for co.in, for edu.in, you can write minimum 2 characters, and after that you can write the percentage. So this is all about an email, but email must be valid as well as unique. So you can write here unique. It means the email ID must be unique. No duplication is allowed in this case. Now I have one more column, and that is contact. So here you can verify the requirement. See, the third requirement is email ID. This is fulfilled over here. Now the fourth requirement, that is contact. Contact, definitely a 10-digit number. So I'm writing here number 10-digit. Contact must be definitely a unique. Now I need to define the contact must be valid. So I'm writing here driving check contact. This constraint name must be valid and it must be unique within the database, and that is the reason why I'm giving the different name. So you need to write like this. The name, you can use the prefix like this, that is the name of the table, then chk, and then what you want to do. Then after, on which column, that is, then after I want to check. What I want to check? I want to check that the image contact must be valid. So here you can write regular expression like. Then here you can pass your column name, that is contact, comma, then in single quote you can mention over here that it must start with 6, 7, 8 or 9. So you can write like this. You can write like this 6, 7, 8 or 9. So any digit is valid. It will be only one character, or you can write like this 6 to 9, or you can write like this 9, 8, 7, 6. This is a set, and out of this set any one character is allowed. So any one number is allowed, that is 6, 7, 8 or 9. Here you can pass the range also. After 6 to 9, it means the first is defined. Now I need to define that the combination of 0 to 9, at least 9 digit is required. So what happens in this case? Again, very simple. The contact number must start with 6 to 9. So it is a first digit. After the first digit, the combination of 0 to 9, 9 digit is required. So the total length will be 10. So now no need to write the condition for the total length. Total length is covered over here. Now after contact, there is a issue date and date of birth. 2 columns are there. So let me write here the date of the birth, that is date. Now I am defining issue date. So driving license issue on which date? Now I have already explained you that whenever you want to write the check constraint for the checking the multiple columns, you must need to provide that particular constraint on the table level. We cannot put it on the column level. So we cannot check the issue date should be greater than or equal to date of birth at this particular stage. So we need to write that particular constraint, that is a fifth constraint at the last after declaration of the all the columns, right? So that we need to take care. Which other columns are still remain? Date of birth, issue date. Now one more column is there, and that is a city. So I'm writing here city. City default value is Rajkot. So I'm writing here varchar to 30. Default city is Rajkot. Now what happens? See, your default city Rajkot will be inserted. Now all the columns are covered. See, once all the columns are covered in your table, then you can go for the condition which contains the more than one columns. So whenever you want to test for more than one columns at that particular time, I recommend that write that particular constraint on the table level. So now you can say that these three constraints, driving license number, check email, and contact are the column level. And now here you can define the constraint. It is at the table level. Constraint, that is a check the difference. So I'm just checking the difference. Driving license check, age difference, right? 18. Here you can give any name, but the name should be meaningful so you can easily identify at the time of insert. Now I'm checking. What I need to check? Issue date should be greater than or equal to the date of birth. But what happened in this case? If you enter the issue date of yesterday and the date of birth is the day before yesterday, then it will allow. So I want the difference between the issue date and date of birth should be what? So issue date should be greater than or equal to date of birth, but I want to add something to the date of birth. So how we can perform the addition and subtraction to the date? So let me show you on in Oracle first. So I'm just logging with the AU 2020. AU is my password. Let me give you some different example. For example, if you write sysdate from dual, you will get today's date, that is 14 December. Now if I am writing sysdate plus 365, I will get 14 December 21. It is correct. But if I am writing 365 into 2, then I will get 14 December 22. It means I will get the date after 2 years. I will get the date after 2 years. Suppose if I am writing 365 into 18, then I will get the 10 December 38. But the problem is there are 4 leap year in between. The problem is there are 4 leap year in between, and that is the reason why the problem occur is what? That is the I'm getting the date that is 10 December 38. I want the date that is 14 December 38. So if you people think that sir I want to pass 366 or 365, so you can write here 365.25 and you will get the exact 14 December 38. But what happened in this particular case? 365.25, it means it will be 1 after the each leap year. So after 4 year it will be 366, right? So you can write the condition like that the 365 into 25 multiply by 18, you will get the result. But if you think that sir I don't want to write like this, I want to add the exact month, then how we can do? If you want the same date, then you can use the inbuilt function, that is add months. And if you write here that is 12 months in a year multiply by 18 year. So if you add like this 12 into 18, you will get the same result, that is 14 December 38. So whichever is preferable to you, that you can write into the condition. It means that once you add, so suppose my birth date is today's date, then I will be eligible for the driving license on 14 December 38. Now how to write this particular thing in a condition? So you need to add the months into your date of birth. So you can add the months, for example, 12 months into 18 years. So it will be added to your birth date, and your issue date should be greater than or equal to after adding the 18 years to your date of birth. So if your date of birth is in 2002, then after adding the 18 years, my issue date should be greater than or equal to this. Once it is done, now you can copy the table statement and you can try to create the table, right? So let me copy the same. I'm just trying to create the table and you will get the message that the table is created. Now I want to insert the record, right? That is the license number, name, email, and I want to test each and every column. It is perfect or not. So for that, I again recommend you that store this particular thing into your any text file. So you can directly copy, paste, and the source will be remain with you guys. So I want to insert the record into driving license table, insert into driving license. Now I want to insert into the column only, that is a license number and a name. Why? Because these are the only two columns which are not null. Here you can check describe driving license. Whenever you write describe, you will get that the not null columns are only two. It means I have to insert the value in this two column only. If I skip all other columns, then the null will be inserted into that particular column if default is not assigned. So I'm writing here that the insert into driving license, license number and name, and I'm writing values. I'm just providing the license number, but I'm writing here the license number is, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0 and 1, 2. It is a 12 character and I'm providing the name, that is Ram. Let me try it is working or not. Definitely my driving license number constraint will be violated. See, the check constraint, the check the driving license number. So I need to check this. I have to include here. Can I write JG? Can I write JG? No, you cannot write JG. Can I write GJ? Yes, I can write GJ. If I write GJ and this number, then the record will be inserted. And now you can check, select star from driving license. The biggest benefit is what? Your Rajkot will be inserted into the column city, right? So the first constraint is tested, that I have to insert the record like this. I have to use GJ and then name. Let me check another column. For example, let me copy the same statement again, but now I don't want to insert the license number and name only. I want to check for the email. I want to check for the contact. I want to check for the date of birth. I want to check for the issue date. Right? I just want to bypass the city. So whenever I bypass the city, the Rajkot will be inserted. Now I'm repeating the same license number, right? So I want that the unique constraint should be violated. Now in email, I'm writing here p@p.com. You all knows that it is not a valid email. Now in a number, I'm writing the 5600764324. It is also not a valid mobile number. In date of birth, I'm writing the birth date is, for example, 12th March 1999 and issue date is, for example, 18 December 2003. Now I want to check which constraints are violated and I want to check each and everything. See, whenever you write like this, it will check that the driving check age difference is not perfect. So I first need to correct the age difference. So age difference is 99 and 2003. It is only a 14-year-old. So I need to pass here at least 17. Suppose if I am passing 17, then the error is not on the age difference. Now you need to check the contact, right? So let me correct the contact. Instead of 5, let me write here 8, right? So it should be valid. Now the error is not on the contact. Now the error is available on the email. So let me correct. For example, instead of p@p.com, I'm writing here that is a par@pin.com, right? So now the error will be changed and it is the unique constraint violated. But unique violated on which column? It is not defined. So here also you can give the constraint name, but I know that the constraint is violated on the license number. License number must be unique. Suppose if I am writing 1 3, then the record will be inserted. So now each and everything you can check, and once you write the select star from driving license, the biggest benefit is what? Let me correct this. LICE and CE, the space is underscore is required. Select star from driving license. Spelling is mistake. Driving license. Yes. See, the biggest advantage is what? The value is inserted into city, that is Rajkot, right? And the difference between this two date will be, that is the 18 years. Email is valid, contact is valid. So this is the way you can do this, right? So you need to make the changes over here, and that is what, for example, suppose if I am inserting like this again, then I will get the error, right? What error? The unique constraint violated. But I know that if I insert the different value, then it will be valid, right? So this is the one thing that you can do. This is the one table. Suppose if I am writing 14, if I am writing here Bharat, if I am making the changes into the email ID, if I am making the changes into the number, your birth date and date of birth, issue date may be the same, then the record will be created. Now students, I want to create the another table, and that is the students enrollment. Whenever we are talking about the enrollment, then what happened? That generally the enrollment happens in the July month only. So that is the reason why the constraint given in this table is admission date must be in July only. One more constraint is birth date must be before 2002. So the students who born on or after the 2002 are not allowed. The city of the student must be belong to Rajkot, Surat, Ahmedabad or Junagadh, and the name of the student must start with A to Z, means we cannot insert the digit in this, right? So this is the student enrollment table. Again, you can start creating the table by writing create table, name of the table, students enrollment. So this is the name of the table. Now here you can provide the name of the column, and that is enrollment number. So I'm just writing enrollment number. Number must be 10 digit. So must contain 10 digits and not null primary key. So not null and unique. So it must be primary key. So 10 digit maximum and minimum 10 digit. So for maximum you can write number 10. So maximum 10 digit is done now. Now I need to write the condition for the minimum 10 digit only. One more thing you can define over here, that is primary key. You can check that enrollment number, right, must contain at least 10 digit, and for that you can use the regular expression. Check regular expression like, that is enrollment number, comma, here you can mention that enrollment number must start from 1 to 9. So it must not be a 0 to 9. We cannot start the enrollment number from 0. So I can write here 1 to 9. So it means one digit is 1 to 9. From second digit onwards, 0 to 9 are allowed. So your first digit must not be 0. That is one thing. Second, your first digit is covered over here, and this is the second digit. So second digit onwards, the combination of 0 to 9, at least 9 digit is required. So your 10 digit is covered. So what I did in this case, your first digit must start with 1 to 9. From second digit onward, it must be 0 to 9. 9 digit at least. So 9 plus 1, it will be 10 digit. Now here you can write the after enrollment number, the name of the student. So every student having some name. So I'm writing here varchar to 30. Here you can define not null. The another constraint that is on the another table, another column, that is CT. CT is length is varchar to 30. Now I want to check the CT. So again I told you that whenever you write the check constraint, I recommend to provide the name. So constraint constraint name. Constraint name is enrollment number check. So CHK, check enrollment number. So check enrollment number is my constraint name. Again, here you can define the name of the constraint. For example, I want to give the name of the constraint is check constraint. Constraint name, that is a driving enrollment number, check city. So city should be in Rajkot, Surat, Ahmedabad or Junagadh. So check upper of city. Why I converted into uppercase? Because I want to convert the user input into upper and then I want to check. So I don't want that the difference between the case sensitivity over here. So here you can write check upper of city in. The city should be in Rajkot. Now whenever you write upper over here, then write your data in uppercase only. Why? Because we are converting the user input into upper and then we are matching over here. So Rajkot, Surat, here you can mention Ahmedabad, here you can mention, for example, Junagadh. Now, once your check is over, this is the check constraint on city. Now we need a admission date column. So I am writing here admission date. The column have the data type, that is date. Now again I am writing constraint name, table name, enrollment number, check the admission date. So I am checking the admission date. Check admission date. So you can write here check. What you want to check? Admission date must be in July only. So you can write check admission date like percentage July percentage. Now here you can pass comma. Now after admission date, there is a one more column is there and that is birth date. So I'm writing here birth date, date. Now I want to check that the birth date must be before 2002. So here you can check constraint name, that is a check. Suppose I am writing enrollment number is my table name, ENR, then check. Now I want to check the birth date. So check birth date should be on or before 2002. So I'm writing here check birth date now should be less than or equal, right? So on or before, so here you can write the less than or equal. Suppose if you write less than or equal, then you can mention the 31st December 2001. And if you write less than, then here you can mention 1 January 2002. So what happened in this particular case? Your birth date before 1 January 2002 are allowed. If your birth date is 1 January 2002 or after this, then it will not be allowed. One more constraint is there, and that is on name. The names of student must start with A to Z. It must not start with the digit. How we can put over here? Again simple. You can define the constraint. It is on table ENR. Check. What we need to check? Check the name. Now here you can check the name. Now let me mention what sub str can do. For example, if my name is Atmiya and if I am writing sub str of 1 comma 1, then it will cut the first letter from this given string. So first letter is A, right? Suppose if you are writing here instead of Atmiya, let me take the input from the user. So I am writing here input. So user will enter the value. Suppose if I am writing Parag, then it will give me P. See, it is giving me P. It means using sub str, we can simply cut the character. For example, if I am writing Tushar, then it will give me T. It means you can cut the first letter using sub str. One more thing, one of the good thing is what? Suppose if I am passing here, the value is in lower case, that is Tushar, then the first letter will be small t. Now I want that the name must be A to Z, right? So how we can do this? Simple. Here, if user pass the value in small case, then also I want to convert it into uppercase, then I can use the upper function over here. So if I am passing Tushar in a small case, then also the T will be there and it will be always in a capital, right? This is the wonderful thing. Suppose if I am writing query same again, if I am passing Atmiya University, right, then it will cut the first letter, that is A, and A is capital, it is still capital. But if A is small like this, Atmiya, then also A will be capital. Why? Because I use the function upper sub str 1 comma 1. So how we can do over here? Simple. We can write sub str of our name, that is from 1 comma 1 between, right? So we cut the first letter between A and Z. Now what happens? See, students, suppose if you pass the name in lowercase, right? And here we have checked the capital A and Z only. So my recommendation is convert this into upper. So what will be the biggest advantage? The biggest advantage will be whatever you pass, Tushar in small case, Tushar in capital case, it will check, and if the name is start with the character, then it will run. Now you can simply copy this particular table and you can check it is working properly or not. Now see, you need to check each and everything carefully. See what I did over here. I did the space over here, right? So I just need to copy this. Now you can check. See, this is a space. So what happened here? If you pass a space, then constraint name, it will check for the constraint type over here, but it should not contain the space. So now you can paste and you can check that the table is created. Once the table is created, now I want to check each and every constraint. So how we can check this? Again, simple. You can write insert into the table name is student enrollment number. I want to insert into all the columns, so I'm writing directly values. But remember, if you write directly values, then you have to insert the value into each and every column. Now I'm inserting the enrollment number, for example 12,502,0693, for example 014. Name of the student is, for example, Hardik. Now I want to insert the name student city, for example student city is, for example, Rajkot, right? And I want to insert the birth date, for example 11 January, and that is 2003. So I'm giving the wrong date over here. That is the admission date. Yes, I need to give the birth date. So I'm giving the birth date, that is 12th December 2001. Now try to insert the record. If you are trying to insert the record, then definitely it will give you a constraint violation error, and that is what the value is larger than this. Yes, I need to give only 10 digit, right? So the first error is of 12 digit. So I'm just removing this too, right? So it is a 10 digit now. Now here the error is check the admission date. So admission date must be in July only, right? Now I am giving here, instead of January, I am giving the July, right? Now what happens? See, the record is inserted. Why? Because the date is before this and the admission date is July, right? So the record can be inserted. But we had not given here the constraint of the difference between these two dates. If it is asked, then you can write over here also. Now, one more thing. Suppose if I am trying to insert the same record, for example, 15, and the name of the person is, for example, Anand. And suppose I am passing here, that is the city, that is Surendranagar. It should not be allowed. And I am passing here December. And here I am passing the 2005. See, the record will not be inserted. It is asking me that change the birth date. So I am changing the birth date is 2001. Sorry, 2000. then it will asking me that change the admission date. So I have to make the admission date. Month is July. So I'm making here July and I'm making here 2020. Right. Now it will says that check the city. So I need to make the changes into the city. I need to make it here Surat. Now, after this, if I'm suppose making one Anand, then again it will give me an error, that is the check the name. So suppose if I am writing here the name is Anand, now it will allow me to insert the record. So the concept is what? At least 10 digit is required. Name must start with character. Even suppose if I am writing the name in a small case, for example, Anand, a small case, right? This is unique. The name of city is no need to change. These two dates are also no need to change. See, the record will be inserted, right? It means that if I insert the name in small case or uppercase, it should be allowed, right? And here, the this is the number, and the number must be at least 10 digit. So all with this over here. Now suppose if you think that, sir, I want to create the table which has the constraint to insert the time. How we can do this? So very simple again. Suppose I want to create the table that is a class table in which class number is there, in which class name is there, and in which class timing is there. Now my constraint is very simple, that the class timing must be between, and that is must be between 9:30 to 12:45 only. So if students enter the class time other than this, then it must not be allowed into the table. How we can do this? Very simple. You can create the table. The name of the table is, for example, class time. Don't give the keyword class. Might be a chance. If it is a reserved word, then it will give you an error. Now I'm writing the name of the table is, for example, my class. Now I want to define the class number. So I'm writing here class number. That is, for example, number 5 digit. And the name number of the class is definitely a primary key. So it is unique and not null. One more thing that we can define over here, that is a class name. For example, varchar 2 30. So here we can define the 101 number, that is the class number, and the class name is, for example, MCSM1, MCSM2, like this. Now I want to define the class timing. So what is the timing of the class? So here you can define the date data type. And here you can check class time, right? Now I want to check the class time must be between 9:30 and 12:45. So how we can do this? Again, very simple. Here you can cut the time. How we can cut the time? See, suppose if I am writing to care of sys date, if I am writing hour 24 MISS from dual, then it will give me the current time from the system date. See, the current time is 10, 18, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. So I'm getting the time, right? 10, 18, 9 seconds. So you can get the time using the function that is to care of class time. Here you can mention HH24, MI and SS. So this is the time. Now this time should be between 9:30 and now as it is the 24-hour format, so I want the 12:45, so it should be 12:45. But suppose if you want that, it should be up to 13:15. Like this is from 9:30 a.m. to I want that the 1:15 p.m. Then how we can do this? Simple. You can convert your PM into 24-hour format. So it will be 13:15:00. And here you can close your check constraint. Here you can close your class table. Now you can simply copy. You can move to your Oracle and your table will be created. What is the wonderful thing? how to insert the record. This is the really very excellent way, because we cannot insert this particular time directly. We have to use the toDate function to insert the value into my class table. So you can write insert into my class values. For example, class number 101, class name MCA1. Now I want to insert the time. How we can insert the time? So you can write toDate function. Here in toDate you can mention this whatever I provided over here, that is in a 24-hour format. It is second, and here you can define the time. Suppose I want to insert the time, that is for example 10:45:25 seconds. Now you can simply copy the particular statement and you can check. See, now this is the toDate is over. Now I need to close the insert into. Yes. Now yes, I need to provide the value first, then you can provide the format, right? You first need to provide the value first, then you can provide the format. Now what is the happening? See, the record will be inserted if I am passing 10:45, but if I am passing that the 15 and so 13, 15 and 25 seconds, it will not allow me to insert the record. See, constraint is violated. Why? Even 1 second is not allowed. But if it is a 0 second, record will be allowed. So here you can put the time constraint on the table also, not only date. You can put the time constraint also like this. And whenever you want to insert the time, you can use the toDate, whatever you want to insert, and then you can use the format to insert. We will discuss all this time and format and all these things whenever we will discuss the different SQL functions. So right now you just need to understand, we can put the constraints on date, we can put the constraints on time, and we can put the constraints on for the validation of the other columns. So that's it from my side.